Welcome back, guys. We're up to episode 18 in this little demo RPG series here with C++, and we are going to work on equipping and using these items that you can now pick up from monsters that drop them. That's going to be mainly this episode, because right where we left off here, you can move over the monster and attack it and fight it, and you get some inventory stuff. Looks like we found some boots. But now, since we kind of see how to make items and how to put them in your inventory, that's all well and good. But now, how to use them? What do you do with these items? How to use these potions? That's what we're going to try to figure out in this episode, so stay tuned and you'll learn a few things. And it looks like we're going to have to make some edits to our library in order for this to work, because currently the only way we have to look at the items in our character's backpack is with this whole get backpack list. And this, if we go look at it, it returns a const vector pointer of items. And while these pointers will point to the actual data, since it's const, we're not allowed to touch it or modify it or do anything with it. So we're looking at the actual items. That's good. But this is a copy list. So we're getting a copy of pointers in a vector anytime we call this get backpack list. And since it's const, we're just kind of stuck there, only being able to look at it. But we want to be able to call things like equip. So if we go look at equip, which I believe we have in our item manager. Yes, here it is, equip. We need a pointer to the item to equip and the character. So if we go look at this function, we got to analyze what it does, because this is going to get a little tricky and we might have to make some major edits to the library if this doesn't work well at first. So we will just have to kind of see. So let's assume that we try to equip a piece of armor. What's going to happen? What should happen? Well, what should happen is it should move out of the character's backpack, so it should be removed from that list. And then the item should now be equipped to the character, so it'll basically be on a separate list or a separate area. And if we go look at our player characters, we can see where we have this. It is a private equipped armor array equal to the number of slots possible. Armor slots. So this is where the item is going to be stored yet. This is going to be control who owns it basically, and who now has control over what happens to it. But since we have an item manager, we are basically delegating all that responsibility into these item manager functions. And it's a little complicated, and maybe there's a better way to do it, but this works for now. So what we're going to do in this case is we're basically just going to go ahead and just equip it or use, and then we'll see what happens and we'll sort out any problems. Now I kind of know what's already going to happen, but just to see this live might be helpful to some people. It says I made changes here. I didn't mean to. Let's not save that. But one of the things we really need here is we need a way to actually select the items, or to say which one we're using or equipping. So in other words, this function is about to get really, really messy. And let's go ahead and analyze here. So this function currently is responsible for displaying the inventory, basically. It's got a clear screen, so we get a new screen, gets the list, shows the list, and then we can just exit. But what we want to do instead is we do want to show the list, but we also want to have some sort of cursor so that we can select things from the list. And we're going to have to do this through a loop. So essentially we are going to put this in a while loop, and we'll say not done. So I'm going to make a boolean here, just a local one. While done, set it to false, while not done. So while we're not done with the inventory, we're going to go through this loop of displaying the inventory and then waiting for a character. Now, the waiting for a character is really important because it's going to stop the loop after every reveal. And basically we're going to make like a little cursor that lets you flip through the list of stuff and choose things. And also when we do this, every time we need to do this, we probably need to re-grab the list and make sure it's the same, which is going to be a lot of copying and a bit messy. So we'll analyze that as we go. Let's go ahead and just try some stuff. But first of all, we only want this little highlight cursor here, probably on the item that's selected. So we need to keep track of that. So we need to keep track of that somewhere like up here. So int selected item number. We'll start it out at 0, which will essentially be the first one. So we need to keep a count here as well, whereas we're going through this loop. We'll make it an integer. Auto item We'll just call it item count, or we'll call it items in backpack count. Kind of a long name, but at least it's clear. And as we go through this list, we'll just iterate and plus this up, basically. Now, every time we restart this while loop, this is going to reinitialize and be 0 again. That's important because we're also going to keep track of which one's selected based on which item it is in the backpack. It's going to be a little weird to wrap your head around at first, maybe, but it'll make sense as we go here, because basically we want to say, we want to control where this cursor is with this sort of thing. So we can say if selected item num is equal to items in backpack count. Basically, it's which one we're currently on. We can just do a tab over here. And then we'll put that little cursor thing. Else, no cursor. So we'll just make it 2 blank spaces. Now, maybe we can clean this up a little bit and just make it a little ternary operator. Let's see if this works. This might not work because I think it looks for a return value here. Let's just see what happens. Is it happy with this line of code? Apparently it isn't. I don't know, I have to look out. I think you need to... Can you only use ternary operators when you return stuff? I forget off the top of my head. If someone wants to leave a comment about that, that'd be sweet. Because I'm not going to go look it up right now. Although, you know, that's what you generally do. Alright, but we'll just make it 4 lines of code to do that. To display the right cursor. So we can get rid of this cursor here. Because we already have this handling which one is selected. And that should take care of it. Now, if we run this right now, it should put a cursor on the first one, but only if it even goes into this loop. So if there's no items, it's not really going to do anything. It should be fine. And we need this character to handle whether we're done or not. So we're going to have to work with that. We'll just, for now, we're just going to go if we no longer need this press enter to continue. We'll just say if C is equal to, I guess, D? Yeah, we'll use D for done. Let me think about this, actually. Let's say something here at the bottom. Should undo a bunch of times. So we'll just put some little notifications for the player here. D equals done. And we can, you know, we can put any other options here. Like W equals up, S equals down. And maybe we can say like U equals use/equip current. Okay, that's enough. Let's work with that right now. So we'll just make a little switch statement here, I guess, since we have some pretty well-defined options. So we switch on C. In case of the D character, we will return, or actually I guess we'd say done equals true. So it'll not go through the loop anymore. Make sure we break. Case W, then we go item selected minus minus, but we also want to make sure it doesn't go below 0, so we want to check that. We'll just do a quick if selected item number less than 0, then just set it to 0. And anything else we need to do here? No, I don't think so. Break. And we can do a very similar thing for down. Except, okay, we need to change this to S. We need to change this to ++. And now we need to check if it's greater than the total number of items in the list. So we'll take this list of items. Dot size is fine. But we need to -1 it because the list is going to start at 0. So the selected item number, because this size is going to return, for example, I'll just say this directly in case you're not aware. Say you have 3 items in your backpack. They're going to be labeled item 0, 1, and 2. So it'll be like 0, 1, 2, 3 items. But if you try to select like literally item 3, it doesn't exist because 3 is a 2 since it starts at 0. So that's why you got to do a -1 on this size, because size is going to return 3, but 3 is not valid because things start at 1 or 0. Things start at 0. All right, so you probably already know that, but I'll just say it again just to be sure. Yep. So if it's greater than that, then we'll just set it to that, and there we go. That just makes sure we can't go off our list. And let's do the last case here of the U character. And in this case, we just want to call use on that item. So it'll be item manager. Well, we got to decide if it's equipment or potion. So equip only works on items. So I guess we could do a cast check here. Yeah, I guess we got to do that. So if we'll just do a quick if here. We only need to do one check. Item manager. If it is a potion, we got to tell it which one we're passing in. It is going to be list of items at the selected one. Selected item num. Yep, that's the one. That returns true, then it's a potion. If it doesn't return true, well, there's only one other option right now, and that is that it's armor or something. But both of these are basically the same. We just do use on this one. Doesn't like something about this. Use requires the character to be passed in as well. Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Main character dot us. And it wants it as what? Let's look at this again. It wants it as a pointer. So we have to make a reference to that variable. At least I thought you would. Let's look at it again. Player character. Use once player character pointer. Okay, yeah, that should be a reference to it. Yeah, that's okay. Why is this not happy? Oh, it's just player. We need player character. So that's a little further down in this, which is in get data, I believe. Is that right? Let's look at it. Let's look at player character delegate. No, this should be right. This should be fine. I guess, do we need to do this sort of thing? Oh, this is a, okay. Yeah, it's a pointer here. So we need to go like so. There we go. That's the one. Just straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Got a little case there. And we can do a break at the end. Now, equip wants the same thing, doesn't it? Yeah, it wants a player character. Basically because it needs to manage that backpack of the character. At least I believe that was the intention we were going for. I'm not expecting these use and equip to work correctly right now, but basically because this list of items is const, so it's probably going to throw an error at some point here. But we at least want to give it a try and see what happens. And let's make the last default case here, which is just going to be break. So now we should have a way to select the items. It's going to be represented by this cursor. And we have a way to attempt to use the current item that's selected. Is this going to work correctly? We're about to find out. I'm totally expecting a crash, but let's go ahead and do a quick battle. We've got a warning there, but no crashes yet. Probably going to be runtime crashes. And I think you can queue up movements. Yeah, you can. Okay, sweet. Because we're not clearing the stream, so that's a thing. We got a potion of healing. Okay, let's go into our inventory, and we've got the potion selected. Let's attempt to use it with you. Okay. Well, it crashed eventually. All right. So yeah, that was kind of expected. The first time it didn't crash though. The second time, well, there was nothing actually there. That was the problem. So that was kind of expected because we used the first one. So it kind of makes sense that it was gone. But however, we don't refresh our list of items here in this current. So what we actually want to do is take this list and re-grab it anytime we restart this list. It's kind of a heavy function, but it's just a list of pointers. It's not that much memory, so we're not going to worry about it too much. It's not going to cause any noticeable issues. Go ahead and battle this first monster. We got a potion of healing. Let's go to our inventory and go ahead and use that potion. And it now is gone, so that's good. So if we hit any of these, oh, we got a assert if you try to use with an empty inventory. So let's straighten that out real quick. Yeah, so we need to make a case here that basically says if the list of items is empty, just empty, then what we need to do is actually continue, which basically means start at the while loop again. So it's just going to go back to the top of the while loop at this continue. So that should fix that empty case. Let's go ahead and do another battle. Queue up the movements. That's actually really handy. Received a breastplate. Excellent. All right, let's see what happens here. Use equip. We equip, but it's still there. So that means it's not working properly. Let's try to equip again. Now we got 2 breastplates. We're duping items. Now we got 3. Oh, this is fun. We have now duped a bunch of breastplates. So that's a fun bug. So now we just have to analyze why is that happening. It's probably this equip function, and it's what this equip function does. I think it's not coming out of the inventory. So it's equipping the first time and just staying in the inventory. And the problem with that is, well, now you've got 2 of them, one equipped and one in your inventory. So every time you try to equip again, it takes your current one off, puts it in your inventory, and whatever one you put on it puts on. So we're just ending up with another one every time we equip over top. And the main reason is because we're not removing it from our backpack when we equip. Now, the reality is these are probably pointers to all the same data too. So it's not actually duplicating the item. I'm pretty sure we're just duplicating the pointer. So we're just getting a bunch of pointers to the same item. So we need to analyze why this is happening. We are calling this move to backpack whenever we equip an old one, but when we equip a fresh one, we don't really say where it's coming from. We just say equip. We just say that it's now equipped. So what we actually need to do is either call delete item or remove from backpack or make some sort of function that basically moves it out of your backpack. So let's go ahead and make that. Let's see what we got currently, see if we have any current solutions. We don't actually want to delete the item because delete would be like fully remove the data. We probably just want remove from backpack. So let's make a function for that. Static. I guess we'll make it void remove from backpack. I guess we'll go player character because they have the backpack. And let's go ahead and make this function in our CPP. Control Alt Home to open that file, and here we go. So we've got these internal functions that we were using. We have this move to backpack internal function that this one used. And I guess we want to do a similar thing here. We're going to make sure all this stuff is actually exists. Let's go bool here actually instead. So just back to that, just so we can return true and false here. Fix the name. Now we got to think about what we want this to do. Let's look at our move to backpack function and see what we were doing there. We were just doing a pushback. So basically, I think what we want to do is just mark it for deletion and then call this cleanup backpack function. However, this is a little dangerous because in this function we use delete item, and this actually deletes the data. We don't want to necessarily delete the data unless we know that it's the item's basically destroyed. So this cleanup backpack actually destroys items, but if it's equipped, we don't want it destroyed because it still exists on the character. We just don't want it in our list. So it's a little bit of a different case here, but I think we can use something pretty similar. Yeah, we can't just mark it for deletion. We have a couple different ways we could go about doing this. We could make a mark that says it's equipped, and instead of deleting, we could do something else. Oh, design decisions. What I really want to happen here is I want it to, well, what's really throwing me for a bit of a loop here is I'm trying to plan ahead for the future. Because if you open, let's say you open a treasure chest at some point in the game, and it is just, you know, it's items. You should, in theory, be able to equip from that treasure chest. And in that case, you don't want a reference to the character for equip. You want a reference to the bag, which would be a vector of items, basically, or pointers to items. So maybe we should modify this move to back, or this equip, to take something else too, like Or we could just say, no, you have to move it to your bag first, then you can equip it. Or you have to move it to your backpack first, then you can equip it. So we have to decide which of those is better for us. And I think I'm just going to, for simplicity's sake, say we have to move it to your backpack first before you can equip it. No equipping straight out of the chest or whatever. I think that makes sense in a lot of ways because, yeah, you actually need to pull it into your inventory before you can do stuff with it. And that's just a design decision, really. If we wanted it to be more open, we could design it in a way where you could just use stuff from anywhere. But I haven't really designed for that. And it's going to be some pretty big changes to do that, so let's just keep it simple. I think the simplest way to do it is to just put the code right here under this fresh equip that gets rid of whatever you just equipped, but only out of our array. So it's going to be very similar to our cleanup backpack method, which is, where are you? And in fact, I think the easiest way to do this is to change this whole get marked for deletion setup. So maybe we'll just call cleanup backpack more frequently, basically, here. And we'll update this function to, yes, get rid of things that are marked for deletion, but also to get rid of but not delete things that are marked as just equipped. So let's make a few changes here. Welcome to game development, where you get hung up on little problems for an extreme amount of time. So this is the reality of game dev sometimes. You spend a lot of time figuring out little stuff like this. And I think it's important to show. So hopefully you're appreciating this. But basically what we're going to do here is just go to our item and go to where we have marked for deletion and just update this a little bit. And just mark as just equipped. Started out as false. Make a getter. Now, of course, the item manager can change these values, so we'll be able to update this value as needed. Let's make this a little more clear, and rather than marked as just equipped, marked as ref needs removed. Marked as backpack ref gone. So there we go. I know that's a really confusing thing to say, but it works. Now, if you think about these, we should really be using unique pointers, basically. Well, maybe not even unique pointers. Yeah, we should be using unique pointers, and we should be passing off ownership of this pointer. That way, we basically cannot make mistakes because the code literally won't let us. And that's one of the advantages of unique pointers. But we haven't done that, and that'd be a whole refactor. The reason I didn't do it is basically I wanted to show you how to use raw pointers, but now it's coming back to bite me a little bit, but it's not too bad. We just have to really think about it carefully, and we're not going to get compiler errors if we mess up this logic. So yeah, that's the huge advantage. You get compiler errors if you mess up your logic when you're using unique pointers. And that's what you want, because you'd rather have a compiler error than a crash later when you ship it to your customer or something like that. Get marked as ref gone. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now when we go to equip it, we need to just mark it as the ref is gone and then call cleanup backpack. Now, do we need to do it to both of these? So if something's already equipped, we move whatever they currently had equipped to the backpack, we take the old one, we put it on, and then we need to, we need to remove that ref. So we'll go, the same function here. Or I guess we could even use the same pointer here. Item to equip. Marked as backpack ref gone, true. Backpack ref gone, true if we equip it fresh. And then right here, we need to call that cleanup backpack method on our character. And that should take care of it. We need to update this function to take care of it. Get rid of pointers in backpack that are now equipped. Okay, very good. So this cleanup backpack, let's go to it. And sure, we have this method, which is fine. And we also have, we're going to make another version of it that is get marked as ref gone, and we don't want to delete these is the thing. So we'll just get rid of that. All we need to do is call erase to get rid of the pointer. So we no longer need to call this whole functionality here. Just a simple erase should be enough. So we can get rid of that altogether, and we'll call this to remove ref. To remove ref. Now, the thing we should do before we actually remove these is we should update it, because this status of marked as backpack ref gone, we no longer need it once we have equipped the item. So actually, let's go ahead and use this for each, but instead of deleting the item, let's just update it. Let's see, what are we doing here? I dot. We don't have access. Okay, yeah, we don't have access to the item here. We'd have to use the item manager because, well, we're in player character here. And player character is not allowed to actually edit these items in private data like the item manager is. So we have to do it maybe a slightly different way. And I have an idea here. Let's let it keep its value of backpack ref gone, and let's just go into our equip, and this whole move to backpack thing here, this is the one where we want to remove that old ref. So let's just do it before we move it to our backpack. Let's just call this marked as backpack ref gone equals false. There we go. So we'll just flip it back before we put it back in our inventory, and that should make sure it doesn't have any errors. We essentially need to do the same thing for weapons. So this code is going to be very similar. So let's just copy it down. We're going to have to change this to equipped weapon. Go. That's fine. And same thing down here. And we need to also call this. If item fails to equip, move it to the character's backpack. We're not sure if we're going to use that. This might actually cause a bit of a bug, because let's think about it. The reason this was in here is in case you tried to call equip on potions, which you maybe will just not allow. Maybe instead of that whole thing happening, like if you try to equip a potion, maybe it just does nothing. That'll be better. So let's go back to our item manager, and let's just take a quick peek at this equip method. Where it is? There we are. Okay. Jeez, what are you doing, phone? Settle down. That was the most useless alert ever. Extended warranty? No thanks. How about I mute my phone? Much better. So I think what we're going to do here is just a quick check on the item. So we'll just go, is item potion? And if it is, we're just going to return false. No moving to backpack. And we could do the same thing on this here, or do we already do that? Let's check. Well, we do, but this is kind of messy. Oh, cast item to potion. Oh well, we're not going to worry about that. If we don't have any bugs, we're not going to change it. Because when you try to analyze everything in your whole code base, when you make one change, it just becomes overwhelming. Let's just see if our item's now equipped correctly as we're intending. Okay, let's go ahead and battle this bad boy. We received some boots. Excellent. Let's go into our inventory and equip those boots. Nice. Okay. Now let's just see what happens if we hit the equip button again. Nothing. Perfect. Now we probably want a clear screen at the end of each of these, because that's looking a little messy. So let's just go ahead and do that. We're just going to take this clear and put it at the top of this while loop instead. Very well. Okay, so now we can use and equip items. However, it doesn't give you armor or anything like that for your items yet. So we do need to update that real quick and just make it actually do something. Now, if you equip weapons, you should do more damage. But currently with armor, you don't take any less damage. So on this fight sequence, let's just put in a little logic here that makes you take a little less damage if you're armored, because I feel like that's going to be quite current. So reducing the monster's HP, that's fine, but reducing our HP Well, we just flat out take the attack damage. But let's just subtract this, or let's put a whole formula in here before this whole take damage thing. Let's make a unsigned int, I suppose, here. UN 32 damage taken. Actually, let's make it an int for now. Int damage we'll just call it damage we take. And let's put a whole formula in here. So first of all, let's get the monster's attack damage, and let's just minus this down by our armor. Damage we take minus equals our armor. So let's go player1.us.get total armor. There we go. And we want this to be at least 1 because, well, the damage we take is less than 0. We need an if here. So we want to take at least 1 damage if we're hit, basically. Now, it depends on your design, what you want to do. You can say maybe have so much armor that it takes 0 damage, but we can't take negative damage. That doesn't make any sense. So, actually, I guess this would be less than 1. We're going to say you at least take 1 damage, no matter what. And there we go. But at least now, if we get late in the game, the monsters are hitting you for like 40 damage, but you've got 40 armor, you only take 1. So it's probably going to be a little unbalanced to start. We're probably going to be just flat out too strong right now once we start equipping stuff. But currently our monsters, if we go look at them, monsters don't have any armor or any stats really to speak of other than HP and damage. So we're going to have to expand monsters at some point and give them armor as well, so it becomes a little more balanced out. And we're going to have to do some number tweaking to make sure things are sorted out. And the way we've designed things and the way they're hard-coded, the numbers are all in different files and all over the place. It might actually be a good idea here really soon to make files that we pull from that just have all our data. So we can just like, you know, fill out one little chart of how everybody's stuff is. And then it'll all be in one place and we can load it at runtime. So there's stuff like that we can do to clean it up. But right now, we're just going to have to go to these individual files and modify things. I'm not sure if we'll have enough time to get to cleaning up a lot of stuff. We're still just, of course, hacking it together. Overall, though, it looks like things are working pretty good. Let's just play for a while and see if we can get some good battling in. Okay, battle this guy. He's hitting us for 2 a lot of times. We have a ring. Very nice. Let's go to our inventory and equip that ring. Get out of the inventory. We also need a way to look at our current equipment. That would be nice. This monster dropped nothing. Let's fight this one. We shouldn't be taking too much. Oh, we might die on this one. Oh, we barely won. We got a potion of healing. Perfect. We're surviving. Let's see if this potion works. Use. Done. Okay, now we have another problem. We don't really... Okay, we have 7 HP, and we're versus a monster that does 7 damage. I think we're going to lose. We needed a weapon. You were defeated by the monster. Total monsters defeated 3. Not bad, though. As you can see, we got some more stuff going on, and it's getting to be a little more interactive. We're starting to actually have a few choices. So that is really good. There's so much stuff to do. There's so much I want to do, so much I'm excited to do, but we just don't have time. If you want me to spend more time on this, consider signing up on the Patreon or leaving a thanks or doing any sort of monetary donation helps a lot, because as you might understand, or maybe you don't understand, so I'll just let you know directly, these take a lot of time and money to produce, and I make very little off of them. And that's why I can't do it forever, and I'm limiting myself to a certain area, but I do like teaching and passing stuff along. But if you want to see more and see me go further, consider doing something. Now, of course, likes and subs, all that helps too. But really, as far as recommending the series goes, it's all about watch time. So basically, people have to actually watch the whole thing for it to get recommended. So, yeah, the series is still going to fall off if you just leave a like and then leave immediately. The series is only actually going to take off on YouTube if people actually watch the whole thing. So there, I've said all that. But we're going to do one last thing, and that's just display some stats on our character, just like a character sheet type of thing, because I think that's kind of critical. So let's just make us a little character sheet. We'll just make a function for this, and then we'll just go void display character sheet. That way we can tell our stats and all that good stuff in our armor and what's equipped and everything. Our character should probably have a name, but we don't have names yet, so we'll just show class and level and stats and equip stuff, and that should be good for now. So we'll start out with a clear screen, and we already have access to our player since it's global, so we don't need to pass in access or anything like that. So let's just go ahead and start printing stuff. First of all, we're just going to say your character at the top. Let's do these little lines. I think I'm just going to use a single C out at the top, and we'll just do everything in one big format. Let's say HP first. We're not really doing MP yet, so we're just going to leave that off. Pretty much just going to stick to a core system here. There's the HP line. Now let's just do some strength and stuff. Actually, let's show damage and armor. I feel like those are the most relevant things you'll probably want to see. Rather than attack damage, let's just say AD. Now, maybe we will spell it out. Let's just be real clear. We don't actually have a great way of showing the damage right now because it's all calculated with attack. So you basically have to do an attack, but you get a random value, so that's not good. We could check the weapon and then check the damage on the weapon, but what if the weapon's null? This actually is, we don't really have this functionality built in well, so we're going to have to leave the attack damage off. Let's just put in armor here instead, because this we have a nice function for, and that is just get total armor. I'm going to total up everything. Of course, we have base armor, which we could show if we want, but we really want to see all our armor here. Maybe in this same line, we'll just make a couple spaces over and go resistance. I think that's how you spell resistance. And same thing here, except get total resistance. And then a new line character at the end. And let's just go ahead and display strength. Same thing here, except get total strength. Or whatever I named this function, get. Oh, and main character spelled wrong. Oh, I need some carrots there. My phones would just be quiet, that would be great. Alright, we're just going to do this for all these. Maybe I'll just... Yeah, we're going to capitalize these stats. Copy paste action. There we go. We got all the stats there. Get total and intellect. And new line at the end there. And now we just want to display our equipped stuff. So let's just make another area for equipped. This is going to be a little bit trickier because some of these could be null. And if they're null, we want to basically display nothing. So now what we want to do is we want to call get equipped at. And if it's null, we want to say nothing. Otherwise, we want to have something. So this is going to be a little tricky, but I think we're just going to do it all in one big line. And we're going to use our function main character. We have a function for this already. Let's get equipped at. So let's look at get equipped at, equipped weapon at, and we need weapon slot melee. Now this wants to be cast to a unsigned long. I think there's a way to make these not unsigned longs. I think you set the last value to like some certain number, and it'll make them a smaller one. Yeah, if you know, leave a comment. So this returns a weapon pointer. And we're going to just design some logic in here. So we're going to need a fresh cout. So let's see about melee weapon. So let's just make a string real quick here. Let's just do a demo of maybe one of that. Should work. It looks ugly, but this should return a weapon. Well, if this is null, this is going to crash. That's the problem here. So we need like an is weapon equipped, which, you know, this kind of is a check, but we could make it like a Boolean. It just gets messier and messier the further we go. Is weapon equipped? We'll just get the weapon. Guess we need to do it in an if statement here. Get equipped weapon at. So it's either going to be true or false. And if it's true, we have a weapon equipped. Otherwise, we don't. So there we go. Let's just comment the rest of these out for now. Let's see if we can get this weapon one to work properly first. Pointer to a bound function may only be used to call the function. Oh, these shouldn't be brackets. There. Yeah, just doing the brackets wrong. I was doing it like this was an array, but no, this function is what goes into the array and does all the work. So we just need to pass it the number, like so. Okay, there we go. That should do the weapon. So we could do this for all of them, basically. Sure. Now that we've done one, it's not too bad to do the rest. Just need to propagate this down. And we'll just call this weapon name. We're going to shadow the variables because who cares right now? We're just being quick about it. So if we look at these, basically it checks if something's there. Because if this is null, it will not go into the if state. If it's not null, then it will go in there. And that way it, it gets the name. We don't want it to try to get the name if it's null because it's going to crash. There we go. There's melee and ranged. Excellent. So now we can do this for all the armors. And now that we're copy and pasting, it should be pretty quick. Change this to armor slot. Change this to get equipped armor. Change this to armor name. Change this to head slot. Change that to head slot. Change this to armor slot. Okay, there we go. Got the head. But now this is only going to show if you've actually got something equipped there. Okay, but that's fine. And now that we've done one of the armor ones, we can just copy this neck into all of them. There's probably a faster, more modular way of doing this, but at this point I just want to get it done. Oh, the power of copy-paste. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. Let's have a quick scan and make sure everything looks good. Make sure we didn't mess up and say the wrong thing anywhere. Yeah, looks fine. Alright, so that just displays our character sheet. It's going to show our hit points, armor, stats, and our equipped gear. I think that's, yeah, it's pretty much enough. Now that we're showing equipped gear, we could pretty easily put the damage in here. So let's just do that real quick. So if we've got that, then we've also got min damage. We've also got the max damage. So we can just paste that in there real quick. That'll at least be something. That way we've got some way to see our damage. Say the weapon name. And let's see. Let's say damage. I'm just going to put a D there and put it in parentheses. Close it off. Put a new line. Okay, so now our melee shows the damage. I guess we could put it for the ranged as well. And for the armor, we could show the armor stats, but that's up to a longer implementation. And honestly, this is terrible practice because we're calling these same getters over and over, where in reality is we should just cache the variable. That would make a lot more sense. But yeah, I'm not going to show all the stats of all this stuff. We've done enough. It's messy, but it should work. So now we just need a way to call this function, display character sheet. And at the end, we want to hold, just like we do with the rest of these functions, a little press enter to continue type of thing, which will be done like this. Let's just put that at the bottom. And let's change this to press enter to continue. All right, let's collapse these down so we can see what's going on a little bit. And now, if this all works good, we're ready to change these random drops and make it a little cooler, because right now it's just very basic. Okay, so let's scroll on down to where we have our main controls for we're in our main world. And now let's just put a new case in here for character sheet. Character sheet, we'll say C. And let's just put a case in here for that. Oh, we need a break here. Case C. Display character sheet. And break. All right, let's have a look at that. Make sure it all builds. Make our warrior. Let's go ahead and move. Let's fight a monster first. We're pretty confident we can defeat at least one monster, although it's kicking our butt. We lost a lot of HP. We got some leg guards though, so that's nice. Let's go to our inventory. There's our leg guards. Equip that. Get out of here. Go to our character sheet. There's our character. Looks like it says our hit points. We've now got one armor. See our strength and everything. We got it, and then it shows our equipped gear. I feel like we need a space before the equipped gear, but you can see we got legs, leg guards, and it works pretty fine. Let's go ahead and hit enter here. Let's try battling another monster. He shouldn't hit quite as hard now that we got some leg guards. Yeah, he shouldn't be able to hit us for 2 anymore. But hopefully we get a potion of healing. Nope, just a ring. I don't know if that's going to be enough to save us, but we'll equip it and get out of here and check out our character sheet. And looks like we got a ring equipped and we got some buff stats. The rings give +1 to all stats right now, so we see that that is raised as intended, so that's all working. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's see if we can manage to defeat another monster. I don't think we'll be able to. He's going to kill us. We can still barely get 2 to 3 monsters killed, but if we get lucky and the monsters drop a lot of potions, we should be able to continue on. So basically you have to get really lucky right now and have them drop potions. Maybe we should have some kind of heal mechanic where you automatically heal a little bit after every fight or something. Well, that's optional. But now anytime we want to edit one of these, we can just go in here. I'm going to put a couple line breaks before this equipped gear. That way it's a little more clear. And I'm going to uncapitalize it. And I think I'm just going to get rid of this little thing altogether. There we go. That should probably be enough for this episode. Let me go ahead and just address any issues we have real quick here. Oh. There's one. Possible loss of data. Oh, we just want to cast this to an integer. I think that's all we need here. Oops. Yeah, that's good enough. Alright, well that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below. It's getting pretty interesting. It's actually, we're starting to get somewhere. We're starting to get to a place where, like, we can progress, basically. We're gonna have to kill a lot of monsters to level up. But once we're leveling up, you know, you will have to flesh out the leveling systems a little more. God, I can't beat this guy. Oh, I should have equipped my item or used my item. And I probably would have beat him. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Peace out.